The beauty of evergreen, because we have an ad-driven approach, is when we test out dozens of pieces of content, we find a winner, then we can reliably put money against that winner forever. Just like SEO is like a forever kind of thing. If you have some kind of sale and, we tune it and we finally get it to work and there's like 3 days left in the sale, then we lose all value once the sale's over. Let me interject one little thing. Just looking at your site, it's obvious that you've been SEOing it, like to the point of injecting Atlanta roofing everywhere. And like, okay, I get it. I get it. Right. Yeah. And I'm on the board of a couple of these SEO tools, like SEMrush and what, it's all the same people. But like, for example, you ranked number 5 on Atlanta roofing. You went from 4 to 5 and slipped in the last week, and Atlanta roofers, number 3, and other sorts of related terms, right? You have, what is it, the DR 43 or 38, right?
38,
4,000 keywords. But you said you wanted to go into social media, and I get that. I think that with you, getting better in social and search are going to end up being the same thing, because when I see the number of search features you have on your top keywords, you're mostly like 2 or 3, or you see here. So you can use whatever tool you want, but for quick analysis, I use Ahrefs.
I used to use Ahrefs.
Yeah. So you're only getting site links. You're not showing up in PAA. You're not getting, featured videos. You're not getting the Twitter cards. You're not getting these other pieces. So I think by doing social media and repurposing content, have you seen like what we teach about repurposing content?
I have. I watched who's the guy that does the real estate, Tom Ford?
Oh, Tom Ferry. Yeah. That was the longest training he said he's ever done, or podcast or whatever he's ever done. Yeah, we can do all those things there as it relates to your personal brand. So let's do it for your personal brand. But let me ask you, do you think that you can get the other members of your crew to make 15-second videos, just like a day in the life and on the job? And
I think that, so there's one guy specifically that he's a younger guy, and he's Hispanic heritage, speaks perfect English and everything. I think he would jump on board. Let me put it this way. Some of the younger people on my team would jump on board with it. Some of the older people probably would be like, heck no, I'm not doing that.
I mean, that's stereotypical, but I'd love to have a little bit of both. And I'd love to have some in Spanish and English.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should definitely be able to do that. And I think, to your point, doing the Spanish and stuff would be great, because it's, it just seems more authentic too.
See, I get hit up all the time by people who want to do social media, whatever that means. Yeah. And I retranslate that into, you have a business where the bottom of the funnel is working well and you're doing leads and whatnot, but we want to move one level up in the funnel, which is telling stories and sharing expertise. And you've got a bunch of testimonials, 4.9 reviews and stars and tons of reviews. But instead of thinking about it as like testimonials, which are obviously one-sided about colony, let's talk about people's situations and their stories that may or may not have anything to do with roofing. Right? We talk about the neighborhood, their favorite restaurant, where they grew up.
I was looking at I was watching some other videos you had. You're in like a penthouse in LA or something when you're doing a video with one guy. It was about repurposing content and content wheel and everything. I was just thinking that the content wheel is the piece of it that I was struggling to think, how am I going to come up with all these topics about roofing,
No, it's easy. It's easy. Here, look. So let me show you this other thing here. The content factory is getting all your content together, producing the content here in the first phase, editing the content, repurposing, which is pushing it out to all the different channels, and then running $1 a day on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all this stuff at the end, right? Which does impact your SEO. So your paid does impact organic, but not in a direct way. So Google can technically say, it doesn't, but it does.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I've been doing, you've probably seen on our social and stuff, if you looked at it. Yeah. I mean, the stuff we're doing is garbage, it's just stock garbage.
Yeah, I was looking at it yesterday and the day before, but it's the kind of stuff that isn't going to drive engagement because it's not telling stories. It doesn't connect people deeper together. It's not human. It's it's like obviously ad kind of stuff. So what we do with the topic wheel, and I'm going to show you how we populate the different stages. We want to have some things that are kind of personal for you and some things that are roofing related. So it's not going to be only roofing. So this is my topic wheel. I've got these 6 topics, but I could say whatever, like here about education, entrepreneurship, TikTok ads.
Well, that's good to hear, because like I have a CPA background, so finance and accounting and stuff like that, and business finance is something that is easy for me to talk about and to be authoritative on too.
And that's an interesting story. So I would tell stories about how I studied finance at the London School of Economics back in 1995, nothing to do with what I'm doing today, except, very lightly, but because of the connections that I have on Wall Street and whatnot, then that connects into entrepreneurship. That connects into starting your own business. That connects into managing people and having large teams of hundreds of people. So I've connected these topics with these other people and then co-created a lot of content around that. And that co-created content then gets distributed across multiple channels. So now you've got lots and lots of pieces of content that starts from the structure of the things that you care about. And of course, the hub, the center of the wheel is customers of Colony Roofing, right? So this is how you're able to build out a topic wheel that isn't some random social media. Okay, July, we're going to talk about hamburgers on the 4th of July. August, we're going to talk about, getting ready for whatever, like that's seasonal content, but this content, Zach's evergreen.
Well, and that I love that you said that, because I see like our competitors, and I know you talked about this on some of the videos, like the thing that's going to differentiate you is when you do it well. Some of our competitors, do exactly what you just mentioned. There's a $60 million company in Atlanta that does a ton of holiday type marketing. And I mean, it's just trash. It's the same ad garbage all the time.
So what I do are things that are not, that I do the exact opposite of what an ad looks like. Yep. So if you think about an ad, it's landscape, it's shot professionally. They're obviously selling something. It's super promotional, and it doesn't have any authority because it's just some guy that you don't know that's saying, come buy my stuff or call now for a free estimate or, whatever they're talking about. So I do the exact opposite, but then I put ad dollars against it. So technically it's an advertisement, but I view it as social postage. Think about the people that that are other entrepreneurs. Think about mentors that you have, maybe when you were a CPA or silly things that happen without disclosing anything confidential. And just have these fun kinds of moments. Like I asked Grant Cardone to make a whole bunch of videos, to teach 1-minute videos.
Hey guys, Dennis wanted me to send you this best 1-minute tip. Bro, you got to be authentic. You got to be transparent. You got to get people's attention. I'm like, hey, that's one way to get their attention. Now, if you're in a professional setting, it might be more like making a big claim. Okay. I guarantee you something, you got to punch, you got to have a hook, you got to get excited. So, and let me just say this, all that being said, quantity beats quality. Don't kid yourself. You got to get out there a lot. Okay. Hey, you guys be great. 10X everything, thinking 10X levels. And that dude you're working with, Dennis, he's a bad man. You see what I do? I keep getting your attention. He's a bad man. And that's my little girl right there. She a freak. And that used to be grapefruit on my plate.
But he ate it.
See what I'm doing?
So rather than me telling people you need to make 1-minute videos, you see the difference where we're actually demonstrating it, right? We're not saying, oh, you need to be authentic. You need to be real. Like, no, here, make a 1-minute video. You can lead by example and make 1-minute videos like, man, I hate the traffic in Atlanta, or something like that. So you can weave in Atlanta and weave in roofing if you want for SEO purposes. But then we're going to take those videos, edit it just like you saw the Grant Cardone one, put it out there across all your socials, create 5 or 6 public figure pages for some of the other people on your team, whether they're younger and Hispanic or older or whatever, and get them to make a bunch of 1-minute videos, put it out there for $1 a day, like you saw we were teaching in the Tom Ferry class. And that's what's building your brand. And we put it into the topic wheel. And then as you make these little 1-minute interviews or whatever with other people that on kind of behind the scenes, or as you're driving around, you're doing this, here's a new customer, I'm training up a whole bunch of new technicians or, whatever it is, then people they feel like they know you, which is called building a parasocial relationship. And that's what social media is. I'll do stuff like this. I'll like, hey, this is $30,000. This is what the average American makes in 1 year. That's $15 an hour. But let me tell you this, whatever it might be. Right.
Yeah. Just do. do stuff to get people's attention and make them stop. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. If you can't stop them in the first 2 seconds, they're not going to watch.
Yeah.
So start with the opening bumper. If you start with, hey, are you in Atlanta and looking to replace your roof? Do you have hail damage? Like we're not doing stuff like that. Right.
That's exactly the stuff you see just scrolling through Facebook, all day. It's just a lot of junk. It's funny though, Dennis, I've got one guy that I know, he has done this about as well as anybody that I know, at least in our local market. And he's been extremely successful on just getting, business off of Facebook and stuff. And what he does is he doesn't buy ads or anything like that. He's literally just posting consistently and, really posting things. A lot of it has nothing to do with roofing, just like what you're saying. It might be, hey, I got a new dog, or I had a new baby, and I bought this for my kid to play with, or just different stuff.
Yeah. Well, is he attractive or charismatic or something like that?
He's got a big personality for sure.
Okay.
He does have a big personality.
All right. What vertical is he in?
He's in roofing. He's in roofing.
Oh, he's also in roofing. Okay.
Yeah. So he's actually he's another roofing contractor, but he's one of those guys that is really just trying to kind of do a smaller thing and maybe do a couple $1 million a year or something. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he's not really trying to grow a business, I guess.
Yeah. So scaling requires ads. You can do a couple $1 million a year organically, but it'll come and go, as you know. But the real players, if you want to scale, you have to, ads are dependable because we have our interests aligned with the networks, right?
Yeah. And I think that's really been the missing thing for us so far is, like, I tried Google Ads even with a couple different providers, and it just has not gone well. Our cost per lead and stuff for all the PPC stuff we've done just so far has not really panned out the way that we needed to.
So local service ads?
So local service ads are a different story. Local service ads have been fine. I always forget to kind of, I guess in my mind, I almost have those in a separate category. Just because
it's quasi PPC. I call it position zero ads because it's above the ad.
Yeah. I can only seem to get like maybe 15 leads a month, which is like maybe $1,000. So it's only exhausting like 10%, of my budget. And I think it's just because there's so much contractor demand in Atlanta. There's a lot of competition.
Yeah, for roofing and real estate, those two have become super difficult. But you've got a 4.9 rating, so you should do better than most other folks out there. I think the better you improve your GMB through cross posting, the better your LSA is going to perform, because LSA, Google is creating your ad for you, but it's based on how well your profile's doing.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I've noticed we definitely seem to be in the top, 5 or sometimes 3.
I think the lowest hanging fruit is repurposing content into YouTube to dominate video search results, to get more search features. And the more you do in social, so here's the biggest thing I see as a first step for us. There's many steps I want to do with you, but the first step is I want to get these 1-minute videos, and I want to repurpose them by, in other words, cross post them onto Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok. Like, just take the same video, lightly format it for the differences that each channel has, because it's basically the same thing. It's vertical 15-second stories, right? Instagram stories, Reels, TikTok, do the same thing, right?
Yep.
But then I want to turn them into YouTube Shorts, and then put those on your YouTube and embed those YouTube videos as blog posts, and create lots and lots of blog posts, not as a way to just spin up a bunch of content, but to get more search features on keywords that we already care about.
And blog posts on our site or external posts?
On your site. Because your site has enough power. I think are you a 38? Let me see. Yeah.
It depends on SEM. I think 35 and Ahrefs is 38. Yeah.
Okay. And I have a couple of special advantages that I don't want to talk about too publicly. It's not black hat, but it's something we can't offer at scale. So one of my sites is freeebooks.net. So I have 1 million organic visitors a month coming off of Google. I have a domain rank 74, and I have a 5.5 million email list. So what I'd like to do is, maybe you have a webinar that you've done, or maybe we can record a webinar where there's 10 points that you talk about 5 minutes each, we transcribe it into a book, and we'll publish that book on our site to then be able to pass you a bunch of juice in a white hat kind of way. And then you can say you have, and the book doesn't have to be about roofing. It can be about whatever, something you care about,
It's funny, Dennis, you kind of inspired me with, I've been trying to do more LinkedIn outreach and stuff. And you kind of inspired me to revamp and rethink about my LinkedIn profile and how I, describe myself, because I think, it's easy on LinkedIn too, to just be boring and, say I worked at Deloitte for 4 years and now I'm a owner of a roofing company, but that doesn't really connect with anybody, So I kind of rewrote even my about me section and everything just to try and have a little more connection. And it seems to be paying off. It's actually amazing to me. I've gotten some great connections off of LinkedIn in our local market, for roofing related stuff through property managers and things like that.
Oh yeah, it's a hidden B2B lead gen. That's great.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you that's where it's at in contracting world. I mean, don't get me wrong, our website's done a great job for us, and residential is great. It's where we kind of have our roots, I guess. But to be able to go out there and do $20-30 million in a year, you're going to have to get some big old projects.
How much of that's commercial?
We're about 50-50 right now. So like at the end of this year, I think we'll probably end up at somewhere between 8 and 10 million, and about half of that, about 4 million, would be residential, and the rest would be, commercial.
Yeah, there's a lot we could do with your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But I think if we do the first piece where we're making these 1-minute videos and telling stories, we will cover your LinkedIn and TikTok and Facebook and all that, whatever, all at the same time. So I don't think there's anything special you have to do for LinkedIn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the content, and then everything else flows from there.
Yeah, makes
you have,
sense.
I mean, that's great what you have going on here, like the new headline. But no offense, you only have 1,300 followers, and there's so much. Not that followers is like the main thing, because a few connections, all it really matters. But there's a ton of stuff that we could do with your LinkedIn.
The one qualm I have about the roofing business, and this is probably irrational, but I just hate that it's geographically, bounded. So, a guy like you can go and run videos and connect with people all over the country, and it's very valuable, right? Because you're selling it more of a digital product. Whereas for us, I need a physical property. I mean, we have 6 million people here, so there's plenty of, customers and potential customers, but it's a little bit more difficult on LinkedIn because, you are literally targeting property managers that are in Metro Atlanta as opposed to just generally property managers,
Yeah, but that creates a second and third degree connection. So even if you are reaching other roofers in Chicago or property managers in LA or whatnot, they will have friends that will be connected to the people that you want to meet. I mean, LinkedIn is all about second and third degree connections. It's not first degree connections. All the power is in the second degree connection.
That makes sense.
For example, I think that you've got an $8-9 million business in Atlanta. I'm sure you've got other local service friends or other mentors that have similar sized businesses, and you can interview them on the Reece podcast or whatever you want to call it, right? And literally that's just a Zoom.
It's weird. I have many friends and stuff, but I actually, because of the world I come from, I really don't have many that are in this industry. But I do have friends like I've got one friend that I went to high school with. You may have heard of him, Shithead Steve. Have you ever seen that on Instagram?
It sounds funny, Shithead Steve. That sounds. Let me look this up. Shithead Steve. Okay. Can't work like that in SEO, but okay, let's see. It's not Scumbag Steve, is it?
No, it's Shithead Steve, and then he also owns like all the doing things accounts. So there's like animals doing things.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is amazing.
Drunk people doing things. There's like all these different accounts, and he's just posting memes and stuff. But I went to high school with him, and he lives like in Atlanta and stuff. So that's an interesting one, just because of the number of. I think across all of his accounts, he's got 40 million followers or something like that.
Yeah, I see that. He's got 7 million on Instagram. That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, other people like that. If you could do some funny little things or little behind the scenes humorous, they don't have to be skit. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
And then we could target in Atlanta. I mean, the thing with like roofing and personal injury and stuff that people aren't like typically are search driven, because it's not like people think about a roofer every day, is when you build up that name, then people will think of you. And that's why, the PI guys are doing so much. Like my buddy Ali Awad is the number one PI in social media in the US, and he's one of the top guys in Atlanta. You probably see his stuff in Atlanta, right? Ali Awad.
What is he doing?
He's a personal injury attorney.
Is he really? You know what? I don't really pay. Is he on social media a lot?
He's the biggest PI in social media.
Is he really? Well, that may be why, because I don't pay a whole lot of attention. I was telling you when we were going back and forth on Twitter the other day, I don't personally use social media a lot. So,
yeah.
But I know that's where the world is. Your customers are there, so you got to be there also.
I mean, people say that, but I think, if you're a drug dealer, you don't want to get high on your own supply. Yeah. So I don't want to, like, I spend almost no time on TikTok, even though I teach in ads, a course, and I'm super well known for Facebook ads, but I don't spend much time in there because I think that I'm there because I want to drive a business result. I'm not there as a consumer. Yeah. So it's very different. Yeah.
Well, it's funny, Dennis. My sister actually works with me, answering the phone and everything, and scheduling new appointments and stuff. She's only 23, 24 maybe now. And she was telling me when we started to go down the route of, I started to get the feeling like we need to branch out into, the more PPC stuff and more social and that sort of thing. And she started to say, oh, I can handle that. I can handle that. I use Instagram all day. And I'm like, well, yes, but this is a different part of social media, right? And that's really what you're saying is trying to drive business on it.
We see that with young adults all the time. So I've just hit 6 million miles flying, because I go back and forth to like Europe and Asia all the time. But just because, Zach, I've flown 6 million miles doesn't qualify me to fly the airplane.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great analogy. I love it.
Yeah. So, and that's the biggest thing. These teens, they come in and they think, oh, well, Dennis is teaching this thing on how to do Instagram ads or how to do landing pages or how to do like whatever. And I already have 1 million followers on TikTok, and that's great. I know a ton of kids with 1 million followers on TikTok, but we're not there singing and dancing and trying to become famous. We're there because we have a business objective. And so that's completely different. And so we say that's strategically different. And so we break down strategy into the building blocks of goals, content, and targeting. So if you're going to work on someone's social media and you don't have the goals, content, and targeting, these particular Lego blocks, you can't operate effectively. So we need to know, cost per goal, cost per lead, what's the average job worth, lifetime value, what's the content that supports that at different stages based on the topic wheel, and then who it is. Well, anyone in Atlanta, commercial, residential, who has these particular issues, this kind of situation, hail damage, whatever it is. So if we have goal, content, and targeting, which is the strategy, then and only then can we move to channel level execution. Like what do we do for like win back campaigns for like text reactivation, or what do we do on YouTube? What kind of topics should we be talking about for Instagram Reels, or what kind of blog should we make? Or all of that, all the channel level decisions come from strategy, which is above the channels. So the content creation is not channel level specific, and that's where most of the young adults mess up because they're focused so much on Instagram and TikTok. I could care less about Instagram and TikTok. I don't care whatever channel produces the profit, the highest marginal profits, where I want to put the effort.
Yeah, that's how I am too. And you're dead on, because like my sister, I mean, I love her to death, but at the same time, she's sitting here telling me about how, well, this platform's where we need to be, and we don't need to be using that platform. And I'm like, how do you have any idea? It's based on what she likes using.
If your average demographic is 40 plus, Facebook is still your bread and butter. Facebook and Google are your bread and butter. And yes, there's TikTok, and now TikTok is on the verge of becoming the number one search engine. It was the number one website last year, and then the number one app, if you can believe it, used more than Google, and they might become the number one. So your sister might have a point.
Unbelievable to me. I don't even have a TikTok account. I've never been on there.
I could show you stuff, or your sister will appreciate this, where I spent a year filming videos with Jake Paul. So Jake Paul is the number one influencer among young adults. All the young adults want to be like this guy. And we created this course on how you can become an influencer and start an agency and all that kind of stuff. And it's great. We're going to release it maybe end of next month or something like that, right? And people
Okay,
say,
yeah.
I know who Jake Paul is, but who's that fat Asian guy next to him, teaching all these things. But the point is, Jake and I are together teaching people how to tell stories in 15 seconds snippets, 15 seconds at a time. And that's all you can stereotype about how young adults have goldfish attention, but that's what we're dealing with.
Is this the guy that was in the boxing match that was, is it? Yeah, I remember.
He's famous for all that kind of stuff right now. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. This is an example of a choose your own adventure video. So we could do one with you and your text. Super easy to do.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. I'm sure your sister will like it. Show this to her.
Okay.
It's real great. I'm so excited. So basically, you guys as the audience are gonna have to choose between me, Dennis, and Armani on who has to drink the toilet water. So make your decision below. Pick Dennis.
Me?
Good job.
Oh my goodness. I thought for sure you'd pick Jake.
Now, so you have to drink the toilet water.
All right, here it is. You
But
ready?
guys, this is not only some form of entertainment where we're doing a challenge to drink toilet water, but you guys are now engaged as viewers. It's always good in intros of videos, in marketing, in business pitches to intrigue people right away, give people a reason to watch right away, because then more people are gonna stay tuned and listen to whatever it is that you wanna say.
That's right. So don't do this at home, even though this was my idea.
Drink toilet water. Oh
Here we go.
gosh.
One shot. So you know
Yeah.
there's no turds in here, so I think we're
The glass is half full kind of guy, huh?
Oh God.
Thank you guys for picking him.
Of course, we all had to.
How is that? Oh!
I hope you guys
But the key
sanitize
is
that toilet
interactivity.
before you
Now
did
think
that.
about how you might build interactivity into your videos and training. Think about it.
One scene of 300 scenes. Watch
What is the mission of Financial Freedom Movement?
I want to be able to inspire tens of thousands of kids to get active with their careers and their businesses and their entrepreneurship and their content and their personal branding, and give them a roadmap that I never had. And I made so many mistakes going through my career, and I wish there was people or experts that I could just have watched and learned so much from to eliminate all the mistakes that I was going to make along the way. And I want to create a community, a network of people that are all striving towards the same goal, which is freedom and happiness. And that's a byproduct of being financially free.
So then there's another choice.
I want you guys to guess how much the average American makes in 1 year. $50,000. Yeah, that's a little bit too high.
All right, well, you get the idea.
Yeah.
But with these choose your own adventure things, they're not just lead forms, because we can capture their phone number and email and all that kind of stuff. But it's a way to do training. It's a way to follow up with customers. It's a way to do all these other things. And I consider it part of personal branding. There's so many different ways and they're so easy to create these sorts of things, right? Isn't that kind of neat?
Yeah, well, it's funny. You think they're easy. I'm sure the average person's like, I wouldn't even know where to begin,
We could literally create one right now in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I believe you. And but it's the same way with maybe SEO is a little more difficult, but people won't start because they get scared and it's feels like this huge wall. Honestly, that's kind of where I've been with social media. I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. But I figured I'll just kind of jump in and figure it out as we go,
Well, you have me and the rest of our team. We have a checklist on how we like to do things.
Yep.
So if you can assign someone as kind of your operations, get it done, project manager person, then can you be accountable so we can get the content that we need. Then our team is going to run the stuff that we need. And if you want to bring someone else along the way to learn and observe, even better.
Yeah, honestly, I think my sister kind of being my, accountability partner and also coming along to learn with me, it would be perfect just because she's already interested in it. And at the same time, she'll be much more inclined to be like, hey, did we do that video today? We got to get it done. So
there it is. So if you can commit, Zach, to getting me a bunch of these 1-minute videos, and we'll tell you which ones you need to make.
Yeah.
Then we will handle everything from there.
If you guys tell me which ones to make, I can make the videos. The problem is when I know that I need to make a video, but I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to talk about? Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a list. Like every 3 weeks or so, we'll give you a list. Okay, here's like 10 videos. So sit down for like 45 minutes or whatever it is, and just crank out these videos. Like where you're standing, sitting right there, just like make those videos.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's all you need to do. You don't have to be on social media or dance or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. If it was down to dancing, I'd be out right now. I'd said, sorry, I can't help it.
White man dancing. Yeah. Cool. Now we have a framework I want to share with you, just so you know that we're not doing stuff randomly.
Honestly, Dennis, that's one of the things that, being an ex CPA and stuff is one of the biggest reasons that I reached out to you and stuff was I could tell y'all had a system to doing things. There's a lot better chance you get results when you have a system as opposed to it being, just random stuff.
Well, I tell people, if you're hungry and you go into the kitchen and you take random ingredients cooked for a random amount of time at a random temperature, you're probably not going to be happy.
You're probably not, but 1 out of 10,000 of the people that do that will get something that tastes amazing.
If a tornado goes through a junkyard, there's a 1 in X trillion probability you'll get a 747 out of it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Or a million monkeys on a million typewriters for a million years will make a Shakespeare, right?
Yep.
All right, you see this?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. So what most people do with personal branding is they play bingo, which is they try to check as many boxes as they can to take pictures with famous people, basically, right? Or get famous people on their podcast. But that's not a smart way of doing things. It appears to be organized. It appears to create power, but the connections don't necessarily lead to anything except trying to get eventually with A-list celebrities or really important people that it gets further and further away from your actual business, which is roofing, right?
Yep.
And then what other people do is they'll want to be a creator, so they'll create lots of content around a particular topic or whatever it is, hoping that somehow that will drive more people. So if you make like funny roofing videos, maybe that will generate more SEO and you get a lot of subscribers, but maybe not, right? So what we like to do is let's take the content you have, the areas of expertise you want to be known for, any kind of media mentions. Maybe you've spoken at some conferences, maybe you have partnerships, maybe it's your, shithead Steve guy that has nothing to do with roofing. Maybe it's people from Deloitte. It doesn't really matter what it is. Let's just organize that into why, how, and what, which are what we define as 3 stages in the funnel, right? Your why is like a Simon Sinek. Like, why are you doing what you're doing that exposes your values? Maybe you believe that, the world is going to become a more difficult place because of what's going on, or, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Things that you believe in. You go to church on Sunday, you like Joel Osteen, whoever it is, right? Whatever the thing is. And the how is your expertise, which can be beyond roofing. And the what is what you do. That's your business.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. When I was originally watching the Tom Ford and then the one where you were in LA with that other guy, I think I was struggling to understand. I finally got it, and the light bulbs were going off that it really goes from the people on the outside of the product on the inside of your circle.
Exactly.
And I was struggling to grasp that, and once I got it, it made a lot more sense.
This is a really hard one, and I've been doing this for years, and I haven't figured out a great way to. There's so many different ways to try to explain this thing. But most people, they go straight to the sales, which is buy my stuff. And it works with SEO because, you're roofing Atlanta or whatever, then they already.
It's all you do in SEO. Yeah. Focus on my product. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're already ready. I have a broken toilet. I need a personal injury attorney. Like, okay, fine. Right. But if you go one step out, what are the qualities that you would expect from a roofing company? Or if you were to meet Zach Reece, what would you expect for him to care about? What would be interesting? So in any service business, it's always going to tie back to your values. It'll tie back to Atlanta in some way, whatever. You go to festivals downtown or a Buckhead or whatever it might be. But these topics that you care about, scaling a business, entrepreneurship, most people will choose that one. Or you start to have more people, you have to manage them. And what does that mean? And, being a leader, that then ties to all these other people. So then if you organize your topic wheel around the things that you care about and tie to your people, you can go outside in or inside out. So some people are more sort of extroverted and they start with their connections and they go connections to topics to their business. And other people, they're more analytical. Maybe they know about, the FASB 119 ruling about depreciation or whatever it is. And then, that then goes to the different people they know who are knowledgeable about different things. But you can go inside out, outside in. But either way, we want to fill this out. Because then when we have this, and these could be people you know or don't know, then we can put content around it. And so that way the content isn't random content. And most people do social media, they just, I thought of this idea. We should, hold our breath and jump off this fence in slow motion or something like that. I don't know. That might be cool. Or here's a new trend that we need to follow on TikTok, which is people that are, trying to eat cinnamon or something ridiculous like that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't believe in trying to jump on a fad or trying to do something that right now everyone else is doing this one thing. So you need to ice bucket challenge yourself too or something.
Yep.
I believe in content that's reusable. I only create content, except in very rare circumstances. That's everything I have. I'm one of those guys. I love compound interest. So
and so what, Dennis? What in your opinion? What specifically makes content reusable, repurposable, or evergreen?
The topic wheel already pre-frames your content to be evergreen. So let's talk about what isn't evergreen, and then let's talk about evergreen and what makes evergreen content powerful. So non-evergreen content is I have a sale, or here's a piece of news, or there's a new product we have, or it's July 4th, or, because once it's after July 4th, then it's like, okay, it's, birthday's over, we announced a new CEO. We just opened up a new location, or so-and-so just joined as a team member, or some kind of,
So let me say it differently, very time-specific things.
Yeah.
As opposed to more educational.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so on this continuum where it's time driven, like who cares like what the temperature was yesterday? I only care about the temperature right now, right? Unless I'm like planning a vacation or something. But the time expiring thing is what most people spend their time doing, which that's why they have content calendars, and they never go back and revisit content they've already made. So if I look at stuff that you have, I'll find some pieces of content that might be years ago that I could reuse because it's still valid. So over here on the evergreen side, I'm looking at stories. So I look at my favorite movies or Disney stories or favorite songs or other kinds of media. Snow White will still be valid in 50 years from now, right?
Yep.
My favorite action movies will still be favorite songs because there's some kind of message. Stories never age. So when we tell stories about other people and we share expertise, usually the expertise will, the knowledge people know about roofing is probably going to be very similar. Maybe the equipment and the products change a little bit. Maybe the people change a little bit, but the branding's still going to be the same.
Yep.
Thus, we can reuse it. And the beauty of evergreen, because we have an ad-driven approach, is when we test out dozens of pieces of content, we find a winner, then we can reliably put money against that winner forever. Just like SEO is like a forever kind of thing, because if you have some kind of sale and we tune it and we finally get it to work and there's like 3 days left in the sale, then we lose all value once the sale's over. So I really don't like that because we work so hard against the clock, and I hate being up against time pressure, right?
Yeah.
But all the other service businesses that we work with, we'll work really hard the first couple months or whatnot until we find a winner. And then once we find a winner, we get lazy because then we can just put money against it and maybe variations against the winner.
Honestly, man, I mean, you probably heard so many people tell you this that you don't need me to tell you. But when I heard, being an analytical guy, when I heard you talking about the $1 a day thing, I was like, that makes so much more sense than, let me go spend $35 a day on this one ad and hope that it works and then get ticked off because it didn't work,
Well, I'm not promising everything that we do is going to work, but I am promising a rigorous testing process where 90% of what we do is probably going to fail, but that's okay because we're going to make several dozen videos because we know 1 in 10, even, videos that Steph Curry makes, like we were doing for the Warriors. Even his stuff is a 90% fail. Yeah. It's sort of like across the board, we're going to get a 90% fail.
Yeah.
So if you make just 5 videos for me and then our team processes and runs ads against it, I don't feel comfortable that we're going to get a winner after only 5 shots, right?
Yeah.
If it's like making a half court shot in basketball, I don't care how good you are. I want to have multiple shots because even if you're Steph Curry, I'm just too risky for me to only get 1 or 2 shots.
Yep. Yeah.
I want, like, even if I think you can do it in 5, I'm still going to want 30 or 40 just because I want to make sure we win.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes total sense to me. When you were saying that, I was like, this is like, why didn't I think of that? You know, it was kind of the reaction.
I have a finance degree from you know, I was going to be a CPA as well, but I went into the internet instead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, you were going to be a CPA? Were you really?
Well, either that or Wall Street or McKinsey, but I had a mentor who was the CEO of American Airlines, and he told me to build the website for American Airlines.
That's pretty wild.
I went down that
was
path.
before you were at Yahoo?
Yeah, that's what got me into Yahoo.
Gotcha. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that was like 6 years ago, something like that.
Well, that's why I think when I was watching your videos and stuff, I was, you know, I could identify with you a lot more than the average person that I watch videos of, just because you definitely have obviously more of an analytical mind and you know, approach it from a data standpoint and a system standpoint, as opposed to, you know, if I asked Reed, is the guy shithead Steve, his name's Reed Haley. And, you know, if I asked Reed, he would give me this ethereal, abstract, you know, description of how you create content. And I'm like, man, I can't connect with that.
Well, I'm a right brain, you know, or is it left brain, right hand, analytical kind of guy. I'm not like the creative type, and you wouldn't want an accountant to be creative. Those sorts of people go to jail, you know.
Yeah, no, you don't want them to. No, it's funny. My girlfriend actually is still a CPA at Deloitte, so she and she'll probably be there for a long time because she's tailor made for that. But I just had a little, you know, entrepreneurial spirit, I guess, and wanted to branch out a little bit. So
yeah, well, cool. I'm excited, and you will have a Basecamp project set up in the next few days, and
Okay.
so you and you said you have a sister, or maybe you have another content person or marketing person on your team. Let's get all of them in there. You're going to see that in the first week or so, we're going to create what's called a quick audit. And a quick audit, looking across your personal brand and looking across Colony to see what the different assets are. If you happen to have a content library that has your videos and media mentions and articles and whatever, that's great. If not, we're going to build it for you.
We really haven't done too much as far as, you know, content creation in the past, other than you know, SEO specific blog posts and stuff. There really hasn't been a ton. I mean, you know, we got a few YouTube videos and everything, but nowhere near what I would imagine you guys are looking for.
Yeah. And that's okay. So don't think, so you'll see examples of what we've done for other clients that are also service-based businesses. Most of them are a lot bigger than you. Don't think like we only do big corporate stuff. So this framework will work for you. It's going to be a little more effort because you're starting from an SEO, which is a text-driven strategy. We're starting from a video-first strategy because we believe video can be then turned into text, but text in the video, it doesn't go the other way. So we do a video first, right? And that's how we're going to conquer social media and improve your SEO at the same time.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then along the way, as we're creating content, you're going to have one of those light bulb, you know, in the shower inspiration moments of some topic that you really care about. And then we'll record a webinar around that. It could be a Zoom call or it could be in person or whatever, 60 to 90 minutes. And we're going to turn it into a book and publish it, put $1 a day against it, make you a best-selling author. You know, I'm the best-selling, I have the #1 best-selling book in social media on Amazon right now.
I went on Amazon. I'm not sure if I bought it yet, but I looked at it because I was curious to see if you had a book, because I'm a big reader. So.
Yeah. And dirty little secret is I didn't even write this book, Zach.
You know what? So Dennis, we'll have to talk more about the book thing, because I actually started to write a book about 4 or 5 years ago, and had nothing to do with roofing. It was more about, I called it the art of application. And I was really like thinking and talking about how there's, you know, people say all the time, here's the things you need to eat. Here's how many times a week you need to exercise. Here's what you need to do to have a great business. But the difficulty was nobody takes that and actually applies it to something, you know, in their life and makes it their reality. And so I was kind of, the thesis of the book was to try and help people bridge that gap of, I have a piece of knowledge now how do I actually, implement it into my life? And so anyway, might be able to.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. The idea of like one step. If we could have like a catchier title, and then we can get endorsements from other people that we know, that could be great.
Yeah.
Because people are so overwhelmed, they get a deer in the headlights, they end up doing nothing. Done is better than perfect, all of that.
It's funny. I have that same conversation with my guys sometimes when it comes to like sending proposals out for work and everything. I'm like, man, we got to send it. Like, it's just
not perfect, but just go ahead. Yeah.
We got to send it. Are the numbers right? Like, are we going to make money on it and stuff? And if the answer is yes, then send it, Anyway, man, I really appreciate you hopping on and everything. I know you're a busy guy and appreciate and really, think a lot of you for just having the mission that you're on, obviously, to, like you were saying, create jobs for people and stuff. So
well, thank you. Because, you by buying our package is creating jobs. You're going to create 3 jobs for this, which is awesome.
Well, that's good to hear. And I actually have myself, I know you, I think most of the VAs you got are in the Philippines. Is that right?
And in Pakistan and in India and now in Kosovo.
Okay, because I have one guy in India that works for me. He does 4 hours a day, but 30 days a month. So he's working pretty much every day, 4 hours a day. And
why not make it full time?
So he had, believe it or not, another job, and he's been doing this in the evening. And I haven't talked to him in probably 2 months because I've just been really busy. He's been working with me for 6 months now, I think. And so it was kind of a part-time thing that he was doing originally. He may very well be open to working, full-time.
Well, if he's open to that, then he can come through our training and we can work together as a team.
Yeah. Well, let me reach out to him and see, because he's been, he basically, I'm sure you've heard of Asana, the software tool.
Project management.
He has a list of things in Asana that, he kind of motors through and stuff, but he may very well be open to it. So I'll shoot him an email this evening and see what he says.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. The more jobs we can create, the happier I am. That's what I want.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's next steps? I guess I'll get a Basecamp email.
Yep. You're going to get a note. Basecamp is our project management system. It's just like Asana or Monday or ClickUp or all these. They're all the same thing. Really.
I've actually used it with one of our old PPC providers. They use Basecamp. So I've used it before.
Yeah. So don't get overwhelmed. There's going to be, I'm just telling you, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that's going to come through Basecamp. There's a lot of this initial setup, but all you really need to watch for is the roles for your sister to be able to help us collect and process this content. And then we're going to start sending you, once we get this quick audit in place, we'll send you the results of that and we can have a 15-minute call to go over it. Now, this is sort of a longer call because it's sort of a, get to know you call. Sure. But we're going to start moving into the tactical steps, and you're going to see checklists of what we're going to be doing of content that you produce that we then edit and repurpose, and then she can post it, or your VA or whatever can post it to these different channels, and we'll boost it together and analyze the performance together. And depending on how in the weeds you are with looking at the analytics, I tend to geek out, but most of our clients don't really want to. They just want the end result, and they don't want to really see what's going on in the optimization in the middle. But that's up to you. But either way,
I'm like you. I like to see that stuff. Honestly, if I didn't have to run a business, I'd probably sit in SEM Rush all day and just tinker around. But unfortunately, I got other stuff I have to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun then.
Yeah, should be, man.
Everything, if it doesn't happen in Basecamp, it didn't happen. So we try to make sure everything's in there, because if there's like a text message or an email or a Facebook message or whatever, then that can get lost, because we have it as a team approach. So you can think of me as like the waiter. So you're the customer and I'm the waiter. And, I'm talking to you about the menu, and you like to eat fish or whatever it might be, but I'm taking the order and I'm going back into the kitchen, and in the kitchen, that's where all the VAs are, and they're doing all the work and that kind of stuff. And I'm sort of interfacing and making sure that everything's happening.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've played the same role for our business, so I can appreciate that. It's amazing how little of the ultimately all the work I do, but it's a critical part of it. So awesome, man.
Cool. Appreciate you, Zach.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Dennis. I look forward to working with you, man.
You'll get a meeting recording in the next hour or so, because Zoom processes it, and then you'll get some stuff probably tomorrow or Friday, just for the setup and all.
Okay, fantastic.
Send your sister my way, or if your VA wants to work full time, send them my way, and we'll give them access to our academy, which is where we have all our courses. There's 100 courses.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll copy her on an email once we hop off the stuff and we can get it rated.
Awesome. Sounds good, Zach.
All right, Dennis. Have a great one, man.